Hi guys, I hope that you are all well and managing to get through this really tricky, bizarre, unprecedented time that we're going through. I thought it might be useful for those of you who are having to postpone your wedding plans, or just anyone in general who's struggling to cope with so much change at the moment, to do a podcast just helping you guide through the difficulties of change and dealing with the unexpected. So I've chatted via Zoom yesterday to Emma McNally, who's a friend of mine, a friend of the podcast, the NLP expert, and she shared some tips that can help you out at this time. So like I said, whether you're stressing over your wedding or you're just stressed in general, I hope that this short, unplanned podcast helps you in some small way. Please don't forget that I'm here for you at any time. Whether you've booked me for your wedding or whether you just want to speak to somebody in the industry to ask for help and advice, I'm always available. I'm always here to help. So you can email me at info@rosswilshirephotography. You can contact me via social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. So please do not hesitate to get in touch if you have any questions, any concerns. If you're having a major wobble, that's okay. That's normal. Get in touch, and I hope this podcast in some small way helps to alleviate some of that stress that you might be going through. Please take care, and I'll be back with another podcast very soon. Hello, Emma. Thank you for joining me via Zoom for this impromptu podcast. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
All right. I think we're all a little bit befuddled and trying to deal with the changes that are happening on a daily basis. So that's pretty much what this podcast is about, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Indeed.
So you've been on 3 previous podcasts, haven't you now?
I think I'm holding the record, aren't I?
You are holding the record. And obviously you're a great person to speak to about change and dealing with things that are unplanned and how to respond to things that we can't control. So that's why I thought it'd be great to chat with you. So obviously we're talking about your wedding being postponed and having to push things back and make new plans, and obviously it applies to all the couples listening, but also it's a time of change and uncertainty for all of us, isn't it? So all the tips that we share really are going to be helpful to you, your guests, anyone who's listening and is struggling with what's happening at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah, and happy to be part of this and to help and support people going through that change. So like you say, whether it's because postponing your wedding or even that your wedding's booked at some point in the future and you're not sure whether it's going to be the same format as you had planned.
Absolutely.
All of those things, also coupled to what's going on in your personal life in terms of work and money, kids, all of that sort of thing. Suddenly everything's been sort of thrown up in the air and sort of jangled around a little bit. So here to give some tips and stuff, because we're all feeling it. So we're all in the same boat. So some obviously everyone's got different circumstances, and happy to share some tools and some thoughts that can help if people would like to use them. So absolutely.
Brilliant. I was just going to start, there's been a lot of chat about the legal side of changing your wedding plans and things like that, and I'm not a legal expert, and every one of your suppliers will have different terms and conditions, so I'm not going to come on here and dish out advice about your rights or their rights or financial situations. I would just say it's all about communication and speaking to people over the phone as much as possible, not just via email, and just being really clear with everyone, and come from a place of understanding. We've talked about that before in terms of relationship, but your suppliers, hopefully, and from what I've seen online, most suppliers are there to help and genuinely care about their couples and want to do what's best for them. But also in the wedding industry, a lot of suppliers are self-employed, and obviously it's affecting their business and their income, and they have mouths to feed and bills to pay. So it's just being respectful that the people you're talking to have their own anxieties and their own stresses as well. So it's just about coming together and understanding that before you sort of launch into sort of what's upsetting you or what your rights are or demanding certain things, because I think a resolution is going to be quicker to achieve with that level of understanding first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. It is all about having empathy for other people during this time. Yeah, of course, it's important that you get it resolved. And everybody that, because I run my own business, as you know, the NLP business, I've had to make adjustments to courses, and actually, you know, people understand. And people, you know, majority of people will do what they can to support you and during this time. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But one of the things you mentioned, and you actually shared it online today, that I thought was just sort of the process of how people react to change.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a model that's used a lot within, so my background is in change management, and it's called the change curve. And the change curve is something which is used a lot within change management projects, but actually it came from the process that people go through from grief. And a very good friend of mine, Melody, shared it online this morning, and I just thought it was a lovely reminder that actually the change curve is a natural thing that people go through when there is change. Hence why it's called the change curve. And what happens is that the first stage is shock. Okay? First stage is like, whoa, hang on a minute, especially for somebody who's got a wedding planned. I can't believe this is happening to me. Yeah. It's that like, what the heck? And then the denial comes in. So the messages this morning around Facebook was all around, you know, people going and acting as if nothing's happened. Yeah. There's that denial space right now. Okay, and as you look out the window, we were just saying, so we're doing this call via Zoom. So we're not sitting next to each other with a cuppa chatting like we normally do. We're via Zoom, but we're both looking out the window, and there's blue skies, and it doesn't look any different. Okay, so it's quite easy to fit into that denial of like, this isn't happening. Phase. Yeah. Then when you go through that phase, there can be that element of anger and blame. Okay, that why me? It's not fair. And anger of like, I've spent years preparing for this, or months preparing for this wedding. It was meant to be my big day. It's just not fair. Now, the thing is with that, and we've talked about this before in terms of NLP, is around actually none of us have asked for this. Okay? Exactly. None of us have asked for this. This isn't something that we said, oh yeah, we'll have a bit of that. No way.
No.
To move through it is about understanding what we can do to help ourselves. And I may not have asked for it, but I can still manage how I feel. I can still be in control of how I feel and what I can do about it. Because if you're blaming everybody else in the universe or nature, God, whoever you're pointing the finger at, then you're giving away your power.
Yes.
And then got that power to make that change and say, okay. So there's that element, the anger and blame, and then you go through to the bargaining and self-blame. Oh, well, I shouldn't have done. Yeah, I shouldn't have organised that. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And then there can be this element of depression and confusion. So, well, what do I do now? Yeah. And then you get through to acceptance. So you can start seeing you're coming up through that curve to acceptance. And then you get to problem solving. Okay. Now, for some people, that curve can be really condensed. Shock, denial, anger, through, up, and into problem solving. 10 minutes, you're all done. Other people, that can take longer. Okay. As a longer cycle, longer curve. And it's understanding where other people are. Maybe if you think about it with your partner, they may be in a different phase than you are. It's natural and it's okay. And it's about, rather than judging, it's being curious about where they're at and supporting them. And rather than sort of going, well, I'm all right now, or I can't believe you're doing, it's actually, okay, just understanding where they're at in the world.
Yeah.
We call it their map of the world, respecting that other person's map of the world. Because there's a beautiful presupposition of NLP, and I probably have shared it before, is that people are doing the best they can with the resources they have available.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as an unresourceful person, just an unresourceful state. So just feeling unresourceful. So there's tools that I can share in terms of how you can start to feel more resourceful, move through that curve quicker and more easily, so that you can start to move forward rather than being stuck in the lower part of the curve. Does that make sense?
Yeah, brilliant. Sounds brilliant. So what can people do if they're sort of stuck and want to sort of move forward to a more proactive or sort of in control state?
Absolutely. So the I did a video actually on YouTube this morning. So if you want to have a look on that, you're more than welcome. Something that I love to use, it's called the Mercedes model. The only reason why it's called the Mercedes model is there's 3 segments of it, and it's like looks like a Mercedes badge. So the first element is about focus. Okay, so you get what you focus on. Where you focus is where your energy flows. So what are we focusing on right now? Now, turn the news on, listen to all of this stuff, and it's full of stuff about the coronavirus. Okay, keep yourself up to date. Absolutely. Find out what you should and shouldn't be doing, and please do abide by it and keep safe. Absolutely, number one. Then, what do you want to focus on? So you can focus on how amazing your wedding is going to be when you finally get there. You're going to focus on what it's going to be like to have those people that you love with you. You can focus on, I do like an abundance journal and a gratitude journal. I'm doing a meditation at the moment, a 21-day meditation around abundance. Deepak Chopra has got it on YouTube. Just start to think about all the things we have, because it's very easy to focus on what we haven't got rather than what we have. Okay, and so we talk about this particular part of your brain, your reticular activating system, and that gets what you're focusing on. So what is it that you're focusing on? Is it what you want or what you don't want?
Yeah.
Just fine. I know you do gratitude journals as well, Ross.
I do. I find them really useful.
So useful. I went out with Sean as saying we went for a walk, when we were all allowed to go for a walk, and we were just decided that we needed to focus our minds on something different, because we were feeling, I like the phrase discombobulated, that feeling like a little bit out of sorts, and we just pinged ideas off each other. So I'm grateful for nature. I'm grateful for the air we're breathing. I'm grateful for the roof over our heads. I'm grateful for warmth. I'm grateful for food. I'm grateful for drink. I'm grateful for the NHS. I'm grateful. And we just carried on for about 20 minutes as we were walking until we were like, you know what? I'm feeling better. I'm feeling so. Because we forget how much we have when we're focusing on that one element
that we
don't
not
quite how we wanted it to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So that's one of the things you can do, start to change what you're focusing on. Another element is to change your physiology. Okay, so physically change how you're standing, how you're sitting. So moving around, getting energy in your body. Put some music on, right? Some really good, fun, uplifting music. Dance, because what's happening then is your body, what you're thinking is being sent around your body. Okay, we're a cybernetic loop. Okay, what you think about, you send that message to your body. Then when you check in with your body and say, how are you feeling, your body will reflect back that thought. So if you're saying, if the person's saying, I'm anxious and I'm worried, that message will go around to your body. And when you check in with your body will say, I'm feeling anxious and worried.
Yeah.
If you actually are sending something of going, it's going to be okay, we're going to find a way through, we're going to come out of this, then your body will respond in that way.
Yeah.
So just by changing your physiology, changing your state can really, really help.
Brilliant.
Third element is your language. So what are you saying? Okay, what are you saying to yourself inside your head as well as what you're saying externally? And so if you look on social media, there'll be people talking about how they're very frightened and how all of this. And again, it has this connection with our bodies and our minds and the words we're saying. Okay, so rather than focusing on talking about what we don't want, start to talk about what we do want.
Yeah.
and I know I've talked about this before as our brain being a good, amazing Google search engine. And if you say, well, I don't want it to rain, you have to think of rain before you think about not wanting it to rain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So rather than saying I don't want it to rain, start focusing on I want it to be sunny. Because that reticular activating system, that little RAS part of your brain, we talked about that little puppy that gets what you focus on, that will help you to find the good things, the positive things.
Yeah.
And it will make you feel better.
Yeah.
It is your choice though, because you can have a choice around all of those states that we talked about in the curve. And how long do you want to be in those? You can let them run its natural course. But what I find is I get to a point where I'm done with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done with it. And once you get to that point of like, I'm done with feeling how I'm feeling, I now want to move on, these can be some beautiful tools, simple ways to start changing how you're feeling so that you can start to move forward, to get into that problem solving space.
Yes.
Yeah? So rather than the fighting, the acceptance and problem solving, because then you can start working out, right, okay, so how is this going to look different going forward? What can I do to make it happen?
Yeah, because I think probably a lot of people are stuck in that, like you said, why is this happening to me? Or we're never going to get married, or we've spent a lot of money and there's not going to be a way out. And obviously that's a natural response to what's going on. But then once you move through that, you can work towards a resolution.
Absolutely, yeah, totally. And you know what? I've had to use these tools. I live and breathe NLP. I train it. However, I also use it on myself. Okay, so I really had to when all this happened, because I had to rearrange loads of courses and do all sorts of other things, and we don't know how long this is going on for. I had to really, NLP is great when things are going great. NLP is even better when things are. Because at least you've got some tools to do something, yeah? And one of the other tools that I used was one about problem solving, okay? So if you've got some conflicting things, but if we do this, what about this, and what about that? There's a beautiful, really simple tool, and you just ask 2 questions. So your first question is, tell me about your problem, okay? Ask the question. I suggest you could do it as a couple, okay? And the person that asked the question doesn't respond, okay? They don't make any comments. They don't give any feedback. They don't give any of the ideas, oh, well, what you should do is, because you know what that feels like when you've got a problem and someone's like, oh, well, what you should do is, and it's like, well, that's your solution, but that's not my solution.
No, absolutely.
It can sort of make you feel less than resourceful. So basically what you're going to do is they're just going to ask that question and stop and listen, okay? And you're going to talk about your problem. Okay, so whether that's the wedding not happening as you had planned, whatever it might be, talk about it until your attention is fixed, until you've got that off your chest. Then your partner's going to say to you, okay, great, tell me about something you love. Okay, and you're then going to talk about something you love. So you're going to flip your attention to something that you love and just talk about that for a while, okay, again until your attention is fixed. And then your partner will come back and say, okay, so tell me about that problem again. And this time you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to talk about it until your attention is fixed. Then tell me about something you love. And you repeat this over and over and over until the problem changes. So a number of things could happen. It might change. It might shrink. It might disappear. You may even get bored of your own problem. That often happens. But something will change. Because what can happen with a problem is, have you ever had it that it just goes round and round and round in your head?
Yeah,
and
it fills your head.
It fills your head and you don't know what to do with it. And you're never moving forward. This takes you to the next level. Okay? Because yes, you're talking about the same problem again, but this time you've already done some of the processing. Just gives you, so it frees up what we call your conscious capacity to problem solve more easily. And the flipping to something that you love helps you to associate some positivity and resources into being able to make a decision of what to do. So I work with a lovely lady in Canada. We do some collaborative work, and she used this problem-solving technique on me. I asked her to do it. I said, could you help me? Could you run this technique with me? was it last Wednesday night? Yeah, last Tuesday or Wednesday night, around an area within my business. I then came to that conclusion. It was quite an emotional conclusion I came to, but I had like that sense of peace within me that I had come to the right decision, because it was my decision, and that I was then able to move forward with that, and to take it forward and to do something with it. Does that help in terms of
brilliant. I think it's people are obviously going to be stuck looking at the negatives, and again, everything we see is a negative at the moment. So just doing that together, as a couple, and taking it in turns, even if they've got the same problem, they can still do it, and still, hopefully, I think I've done it. I've done this exercise with you and other people, and for me, it just shrinks it, and it gives that perspective, because it becomes everything in your life, and then by doing it, it's still there, but it's not taking up so much space in your head and in your life, and it becomes easier to manage, because it's not over you. You can look at it a bit more objectively, and sort of shrink it down and feel more in control of it already. Even if you haven't got to the point of solution, you feel that a solution is possible, I think.
Absolutely. And we don't predict necessarily what might happen. All sorts of things might happen for you. And then, like you say, swap over, and so you then ask those questions for your partner, and it could be a really beautiful thing and a beautiful tool that you can use now, but actually you're going to have things that happen in the future. It's life. Okay, none of us can predict accurately I haven't found anyone yet to predict accurately what's going to happen in the world. Okay, so actually it's nice to have that up your sleeve for anything in the future, whether it's do you move, do you do this, whatever it might be that might come up. Do you take that new job? Do you set up your own business? All of those big questions, all questions, all those little things and big things. And when we were talking, weren't we, about perspective? Okay, and I think this is an interesting time, and I think we will look back at this, and there will be a different perspective, I think, on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think we were talking earlier. Things that matter will be at the forefront, won't they? I think, and we will have a better perspective on life in general, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what's important are those relationships.
Yeah, and you've still got those.
Yeah, exactly. And you did a beautiful blog, absolutely lovely. If everybody hasn't had a chance to read it yet, please. It's absolutely beautiful, about actually keeping hold of the reason why you're getting married.
Yeah,
it's not for the dress, it's not for the cake, it's not for the party, it's because you love that other person. And actually, through this time, that's the bit that's so important, is to love each other and to be close to each other and support each other through this time. And like I say, once you understand that change curve, you can be much more understanding and curious as to what's going on, rather than judgmental. You can sort of go, wow, I can see how they're having a tough time at the moment, and I need to be there for them and stand with them.
Yeah.
Even if it is virtually. Absolutely.
But then even that, aren't we lucky this has happened when we can connect virtually?
Super lucky. Yesterday was Mother's Day. We were recording this on the Monday, and for the first time I couldn't be with my mum, and however, I FaceTimed her, and we had a virtual cup of tea. So she had hers and I had mine, and we chatted, and you know what, it's, at least we've got that, focusing on the I can talk to my mum via FaceTime, I'm talking to you via via Zoom today. There's things that we can still do.
Absolutely.
So
and this isn't forever. It probably feels like it, but it isn't.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. And just so grateful for all of those people that are working behind the scenes to get a vaccine.
Totally.
And to support and to look after us, the NHS, and all of those people. And we were talking before we came online about, there's a presupposition within NLP around flexibility, and about the catalyst in the system is basically the person or the element that has the most flexibility. So in terms of this, at the moment, the coronavirus seems incredibly flexible in how it's spreading and what's going on. It's now for us to be flexible as possible, to adapt and forward, so that we can have the outcomes that we want, and to move forward to a better place.
Yeah. I think that's what we've all got to learn, is that the more flexible we are, the more we can adapt, the quicker we'll get through this whole situation. And then specifically with the wedding, the more flexible, the more you can adapt and everybody can work together. There might be compromises, but if you look at the bigger picture, it's going to be worth it, and there will be a way out.
And there will be, absolutely. And when you get there, it might be different. That doesn't mean to say it's worse.
Exactly.
It just might be
different. Doesn't mean worse.
Exactly. And so just having that flexibility, but also that understanding that, you know, we talk about that curve and people will be going through that, and just that's okay. And some people will need some time and support to do that. You know, especially if you've got people who are sick and poorly and other things going on, and just giving people some slack really on it.
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll like I said at the start, you'll reach a resolution much quicker, just by understanding that we're all going through something and we're all affected by this.
Absolutely.
And we're all doing the best we can with the resources we've got, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it isn't that people are unresourceful, they're just in an unresourceful state at that moment. They're doing the best they can.
Exactly. And we look forward to doing all the weddings. Well, I certainly look forward to
absolutely
the weddings. I still intend to be there when they happen, and you know, my camera kit's still there. It can't be infected. My camera kit cannot be infected. So it's safe and it's clean and it's disinfected and it's ready and raring to go. So
yes,
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to wish every single couple that's listening to this, or any person that's listening to this, that even if you're not getting married, that, you know, be safe, look after each other, look after ourselves, and, you know, we're doing what we can here to support and give advice. And, you know, if you want it, it's there to reach out, and there's support there for you. And we just want to send love and support in this time to everybody.
Absolutely. I'm there for my couples. I'm there for anyone listening. You know how to reach out. So you're not alone. Even if you're isolated or distant from a lot of people you love, you're not alone. We're all connected, and we'll get through it together.
We will indeed.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
I'll have you back again in brighter, more positive times.
How much fun. Look forward.
In person.
In person, yes, absolutely.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.